Welcome to the All Financial Hour podcast with Steve All.
I came across an article in the Wall Street Journal that says people are getting wise to the fees charged on their investments. That's why the cost of ETFs, which are exchange-traded funds, and index funds are near zero. So brokers are now pushing people towards alternative investments. Sounds fancy, sounds a little complicated here, but the fact is that they are loaded with hefty fees. It almost seems like the only money the client makes is what's left after fees. Steve, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, when you start to talk about fees, and I think the biggest thing that they have, it's amazing when I talk to people, what fees are you paying in your 401k? And well, I don't pay any fees. And we do the analysis around that, and they do have fees included in them. Mm-hmm. You know, they're either hidden internally if they're using mutual funds. ETFs, in most cases, are a lot less expensive with internal cost. That's why we use those within our assets under management, our investments when we do stuff like that. And then when we go to the fees, and the big thing for myself that it does surprise a lot of people, that summary of plan will start with an income stream, where you're going to get your incomes from. Then we look at that risk reward. What kind of return are you getting, and how much risk are you taking to get it? And then we'll talk about the internal fees of the accounts that you currently have. And if you're getting your money managed by somebody else, if we can see it on the statement, we will disclose that fee to you also. And then we go to our side of it. Here's the fee that I get at the All Financial Group. Here's the platform fee that we're going to be changing, because sometimes that's disclosed and sometimes it's not. Many times I've heard, well, my advisor charges X. What's the platform fee? I don't know what you're talking about when you say platform fee. The overall expense that everybody does, because the guy that trades it's going to make some money too, and the person that holds it, the Fidelities, the Vanguards, they got to make something too. How many people are sharing in this? And then the question that I always ask after that is, what are you doing for the fee? And that's when I look at it to the point of sit here and say, we're going to assist you with your income planning. We're going to assist you with tax planning. As we go through all of these things, what are you getting for the fee? I see my clients, usually the very first year that they become clients, 4 times a year. Why? Because I want them to understand what we're doing. I want them to feel comfortable coming to the office and answering questions for them. So what are you doing for that fee, I think, is very, very important. Also, if we sell an insurance product, it does have a commission, and we disclose that to the client too. If we disclose everything up front, everybody knows how we're going to get paid for what we're doing. And I think that's very, very important. People ask, Steve, I've never had anybody do this. Why do you do it? I said, I don't want to go through my whole planning process. And you go, God, I love everything you do, but your fee's too high. Mm-hmm. I would rather talk about that fee up front and say, this is what we're going to do for the fee. That way we don't have this problem later on down the road. I believe that we bring value to you more than just investment advice.
It was about 3 years ago when TikTok influencer, her name is Blazy Arnold, she bought her dream car. It was a top-of-the-line SUV. It was actually a Chevy Tahoe. She bought it for a whopping $84,000, and she financed it at 10%. That makes me want to cry for her. Wow, that is crazy.
And she's an influencer?
Apparently.
Don't take her advice.
Seriously. Well, this is a great example of what buyer's remorse looks like.
I have been making $1,400 a month payments for the past 3 years. And if you do the math, you will see that $1,400 a month payments in 3 years should be around $50,000 worth of payments. Yeah, well, I've only paid off $10,000 of the balance. And honestly, that blows my mind that I have paid $50,000 into this car and have only paid off $10,000 of the balance.
Interesting. You know, I know a lot of folks feel like this, by the way, with whether it's cars or credit card debt. And by the way, she has since sold the car. I think she got tired of all those payments. But here's the deal. Retirees, hopefully they know the dangers of financing at high rates, but that's why so many use cash to make large purchases. So how often do they come to you and say, hey, Steve, where's the best place to get my money?
That's probably the most asked question for Stacy in my office. We need, I don't care if it's 10,000, 25,000, 40,000, whatever they need. We need X. Where is the best place to get it? Well, Sally and Jerry had called the office. They needed about 45,000. They were buying a car, and I look at it, 10% interest, probably a 7 to 8 year loan. She's right. You're not going to pay that car off, and you're not going to have your head above water on that car till probably 6 to 7 years into that loan. So that does make it very difficult when we come to that. But Sally had called. They want to spend $45,000 on a vehicle. Where do you get it? Luckily, they've been clients for about 10 to 12 years. So we had different options of where we could take their money. They had IRA accounts. Now remember, if I take money out of an IRA account, it's taxable income. They had cash. They could have spent some of their own cash, but they like having that emergency fund sitting around there. They have Roth accounts. Well, you pull the money out of a Roth account, you don't pay any income tax on it, but because they're in their mid-60s, it's that opportunity of tax-free growth for the rest of their life is what they were looking at from there. And we had set them up with an indexed universal life policy. And we use that indexed universal life policy in a different manner than most people think about life insurance. This is a deal where, normally your term insurance, I want the biggest death benefit I can possibly get with the least amount of premium possible. We're doing this the opposite direction. We want to use the life insurance contract, tax-deferred growth. We take the money out properly. There's no taxes on it. And if I pass away, the benefit's tax-free. So we use that life insurance contract and go the opposite direction. We want to put as much money as we can possibly put into this thing with the least amount of death benefit possible. Build your own bank. So when we looked at it, we said, okay, let's give the insurance company a call. We called them up and we got an interest rate below 2.5%. And she could get it out for around 2%. So she's going, how long could I do it for? I said, you never have to pay it back, because they're going to reduce the death benefit by the amount of your loan. She said, but if I want to pay it back, how long can I do it? I said, you pick the terms. You want to pay it back in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever you want to do. It's your money. It's your bank. And that's what we call this, like, be your own bank. They borrowed their own money at a very low rate from their account, no taxes. Having diversification of your assets is very important, especially when you get into retirement, because then we have the option. I can promise you, if you only have, I'm going to take it from my brokerage account or I'm going to take it from my IRA account, traditional or 401k, I'm paying taxes one way or the other. Having different places where you can get that money from in retirement is very, very, very important. And that's why we say diversification, that a lot of people don't think about, is diversification of your asset classes. What's the taxation of all these different things? Give us a call now. Allow us to analyze where you're at and figure out how many different sources that you have to get income from. And if you've only got one or two, give us a call now. We'll look at an analysis around that and see if we can assist you in diversifying yourself so that when you retire, you have more pockets that you can take the money that you're going to need from.
Of course, congratulations go out to pro golfer Scottie Scheffler. He just won his second Masters tournament. The world's #1 player was asked afterwards if he feels the need to win more, make more, and achieve more fame. And I think his response is going to shock you.
I feel like playing professional golf is an endlessly not satisfying career. All I can think about right now is getting home. I'm not thinking about the tournament. I'm not thinking about the green jacket. I wish I could soak this in a little bit more. Maybe I will tonight when I get home. But at the end of the day, I think that's what the human heart does. You always want more. Winning this golf tournament does not change my identity. My identity is secure, and I cannot emphasize that enough.
Well, interesting that he talks about, I just want to get home. For those that don't know, his wife was practically, going into labor any minute. So that's exactly why he was like, I got to get out of here. But I love the fact that he says, winning doesn't change me, because golf is a long game. And a lot of our listeners, they're walking down their last fairways before retirement. Let's face it here. So how can you help them make it to the 18th hole, Steve?
See, I look at this in two different lights. Is golf as a profession, and golf is what you just talked about. Mm-hmm. It's that making it to the 18th hole. And I've loved when they've held like the professional golf tournaments here in St. Louis. I can still remember I think it was the 1992 PGA here in St. Louis at Belle Reve, and went out for that. And you'd watch these guys, they would go out and play golf, the pros. They would stand on the driving range for hours hitting golf balls. Then they would use the irons for a while, and then they would hit their woods, and then they'd go to the putting green. And I watched Seve Ballesteros put a 10-foot putt. His caddy was sitting up by the hole. He hit this same putt for almost 15 minutes, and then he rotated like a quarter of a turn. And he just moved around that time. Now, I played golf at that time, and I was your guy, like almost all the amateurs, where we would go out. We'd possibly go to the range for 10 to 15 minutes before the round would start. And if I putted for 5 to 10 minutes, my back started to hurt, type of the deal. We just didn't spend the time on the range. And these guys spend so much time on the range. And then we'd go out with them, and I got the pleasure of walking with them as a roving caddy. They're all relaxed during the round because it's like a break from practice. They're going to go on a 5-hour walk versus them continually doing that. So the difference between the professional golfers, where that's your job, and us amateurs is the round is a break for them. It's like retirement's not a destination, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And when we look at it, and I loved how you brought that scenario in, that's that journey. We start that long game. It's 18 holes. It takes a while to get there. And that 18th green is so important when you're playing that round of golf, especially as an amateur. And I don't care. I could play bad all day long. And if I hit a good shot on the 18th or the 17th hole, I was coming back tomorrow because I knew I could do it again. Mm-hmm. So it's that different picture. And I think when we look at it, it's a journey. It's not a destination. So how prepared are you? Did you spend all that time in the practice range? Do you have an idea how you're going to get your income when you retire? Are you sure your assets are going to be allocated properly? Am I taking too much risk, not enough risk? Where am I at in this process? Taxes. We were told we were going to be in a lower tax bracket. Am I prepared for what taxes could do in retirement? What if they increase taxes? Because almost everybody thinks they're going to. Long-term care. Did I even think about that in this, quote, journey called retirement? And what about the legacy? Most of us have saved assets for our kids. We didn't plan on it, but we did. We did a good job. We did what they told us to do. And we're going to pass assets on to our kids. Are we going to pass them on tax efficient? Are we going to pass on a tax time bomb? So I'm going to ask you now, on that journey that you call to retirement, are you prepared? Have you done the legwork before you retire so that retirement is a lot easier, kind of like those pro golfers? They practice all day long so they can walk those 18 holes, 4 times on a weekend.
Senator Bernie Sanders is catching attention over a bill that he recently introduced. It would be a 32-hour work week as the standard over 4 years and having no reduction in pay. And Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary, he, of course, has an opinion about a lot of things, and he has no qualms about sharing it. Here he is on Fox Business.
There are bad ideas, there are very bad ideas, and there are very, very, very bad ideas. And then there are ideas that are so bad they're un-American. This is an insane idea. It's never going to happen. We're the #1 economy on earth for a reason. A third of the population strives to be entrepreneurial. There is no life-work balance. balance when you're an entrepreneur, when you start your business. You do that to achieve financial freedom. That is the American dream. That's what my entrepreneurs do every day. I tell them, if you don't come in on Saturday, don't even bother coming in on Sunday.
Yikes. All right. Clearly has an opinion about that. Wow. Okay. Well, isn't that kind of like retirement? I mean, Steve, listen, we work 40 plus hours a week. We're hoping to find this whole life balance situation after you leave the job. So how does creating a plan and then, of course, carrying out that plan ease that transition?
Kevin and I don't usually always agree, but I love this one. I absolutely love
See,
Kevin
that's
on
funny
this.
because I heard it and went 32 hours. I can do that. No change in pay. Sign me up.
And as the entrepreneur, everybody loves to look back and say, okay, he doesn't probably put in as many hours he did as when he was building his business. And people want to look at that person with a successful business and say, wow, they have the car, they have the vacation home, and they have these things. And they look at that and say, that's what I think I should get. But we forget about the times, and I have to look at it in my own. I've had the pleasure of starting 3 different companies, and thank God they've all been successful. We'll knock on the wood for that one. But they've all been successful. But people don't see those days. You know, people don't remember the days when I had to borrow money to keep all my employees there during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I've gone months without a paycheck, you know, when we were getting businesses started. Why? Because we had to make sure the employees were paid. So we give it up, and it looks like everything's going well. And that's when I like to look at it for this retirement. Everybody that I talk to says almost the exact same thing. I wish I would have started earlier, you know, because of that power of compound interest. People don't realize if you just put $2,000 a year away, and you start when you're age 20, you'd have $834,000 at age 65. If you wait till you're 30, you'd have $372,000. That's almost a $400 and some odd $1,000 difference. Mm-hmm. And I only put in $20,000 more. That's the power of compound interest. So starting early is very, very, very important. And I look at it, 80-10-10 rule. 80% of your money is what you live on, 10% goes to wherever you get your faith, and 10% goes to your own retirement. If you learn to live on 80% of your income, you'll never get caught living on 125, because I believe credit card debt is the thing that stops most people from working. And then I also have to look at it. If you don't work hard, if you don't save, if you don't things that are doing, what are you going to do with those extra 8 hours a week? Because if you don't have the money to make that lifestyle work, I think that's what it's all about. So if you're sitting back right now trying to figure out, can I retire? Will I run out of money? Give us a call now. Let us run the numbers for you to find out where you're at and what are your chances of a successful retirement. And if you need to change something, it's easier to change it now than 5 to 10 years in the future. Give us a call now. Ask for that comprehensive retirement plan.
Thanks for listening to the All Financial Hour podcast.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business All Insurance Group, LLC, AIG. All Financial Group, LLC is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by All Insurance Group, LLC, AIG are not subject to investment advisory requirements. IPW and All Insurance Group, LLC, AIG are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. All Financial Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by All Financial Group, LLC.
This radio show is intended for information purposes only.